What if the God you've been told about, the one sitting on a throne in the sky, isn't quite what you think? What if the idea of an all-powerful, external being has kept you from the actual truth? This isn't just a philosophical question. It's a matter of your personal power. And understanding this one concept could completely reshape your entire perception of reality, moving you from a state of passive receiver to active creator of your own life. Consider this. What if God isn't a being at all, but a fundamental frequency, a pervasive vibration that underpins all of existence, the very energy from which everything is born and to which everything returns? Think of it like a radio. Each station broadcasts on a specific frequency. In the same way, the universe vibrates at an infinite number of frequencies. And what if God is the underlying frequency, the source code, if you will, that gives rise to everything else? This concept challenges the traditional notion of God as a separate entity, and instead suggests a divine presence woven into the very fabric of reality itself. It's a radical shift, from a God out there to a God that is here, now, always, in everything. Building on this idea of frequency, you can start to see it everywhere. Sound is vibration, a wave traveling through the air. Light itself is electromagnetic radiation vibrating at a specific frequency. And even your thoughts and feelings are electrical impulses in your brain, vibrating at their own unique rates. Everything is in a state of motion. Everything is vibrating. Even the seemingly solid chair you are sitting on is not as still as it appears, but an incredibly dense frequency of energy. It's as if the universe is a vast, interconnected symphony of vibrating energy. And it's here where we begin to see the core concept of frequency as a lens through which we can understand absolutely everything. Every single thing in this reality has a vibrational signature, which means that everything is connected within this vast, divine frequency that we call God. But considering that this concept is so fundamental, so all-encompassing, it begs the question, why isn't this common knowledge? Why isn't this taught in schools or discussed in the mainstream media? What if the most powerful and transformative secret was kept hidden from you, a truth that could set you free from a lifetime of struggle and limitation? What if this understanding of God as a universal frequency has been deliberately obscured by those who benefit from your ignorance and obedience? The prevailing religious views often present a God that is distant and unreachable, a stern judge who demands your reverence, creating a feeling of separation and a sense of powerlessness. It implies that you are a small, flawed being, forever striving to earn the favor of some external authority. This is in stark contrast to the idea that God, as a frequency, is an intimate part of you, always accessible, always present, an inherent part of your very being. This shift is not just a minor difference in perspective, but a complete change of paradigm. What is at stake here is your personal freedom and your ability to step into your true power. Understanding this shift has massive implications for your life. If God is a frequency, then your relationship with it shifts from passive worship to active participation. Think of it this way: by understanding the mechanics of frequency, you are now empowered to consciously influence your reality, much like a radio operator tunes into their desired station. Accessing that unique signal, you too can tune into your desired reality by aligning yourself with the correct frequency. You are not a mere observer, you are a co-creator, able to shape your life experiences by choosing your own unique frequency. If the concept of God is a frequency, then you are no longer a small cog in the machine of the universe, but the very engineer that controls the dials, able to tune into the reality you desire. By learning how to actively interact with the God frequency, you unlock a level of personal power and potential that you never thought possible. You move from being a passive receiver of life to the active architect of your own experience, changing your relationship with your potential. The implications of this are that it not only changes how we understand God, but it radically shifts our understanding of ourselves and our capabilities. But more importantly, It's about breaking free from control structures that seek to keep you in a state of ignorance and compliance. This understanding of God as a frequency becomes a catalyst for challenging authority, for awakening from societal programming, and for reclaiming the power that has always been yours. The truth is, your access to God is not mediated by any church or religious dogma. It's always open to you through the frequency you embody. This isn't just about a new definition of God, it's a new understanding of your own power and the very nature of reality. And this brings us to the question, where does this idea come from? Consider modern science. The field of quantum physics has begun to reveal that everything is energy, everything is in constant motion, everything is vibrating. From the smallest subatomic particles to the largest galaxies, it's all just energy moving and interacting with itself. In fact, the seemingly solid world that we perceive is just incredibly dense frequencies of energy. And this is a point where science is beginning to catch up to what mystics and spiritual teachers have known for centuries. Ancient spiritual texts throughout history have all pointed to this fundamental idea of a universal energy that connects everything. The Kai in Taoism, the prana in Hinduism, the concept of a universal consciousness. Each of these traditions, in their own ways, have all pointed to the existence of a single, vibratory energy that permeates all of existence. And what if all of them are, in fact, referring to the same thing, a fundamental frequency? And it's here that we find a key connection. Every thought, every feeling, every intention you have emits a vibrational signature, a unique frequency. It is through this frequency that we interact with and resonate with specific experiences in our lives, like a tuning fork responding to another. We see this clearly in the way that our inner states influence our outer experiences. And what this means is that, when you align yourself with more positive states such as joy, love, gratitude, you're aligning with a higher, faster frequency, and in turn, you start attracting more peace, abundance, and joy into your life. But conversely, when you focus on negative states, such as fear, anger, and resentment, you align yourself with a lower frequency, which in turn attracts more negative experiences into your life. You're quite literally tuning the radio dial of your reality, each and every moment of your day, consciously or unconsciously. This idea that we can control the frequency of our lives is empowering, but the question then becomes, if this is such a fundamental truth, why is this not common knowledge? Why isn't this openly discussed? What would be the reason for such a huge suppression of this truth? What if these controlling powers know that you can't be controlled if you know you are, in fact, the god of your reality? Could it be that certain systems deliberately keep us from this knowledge, because they want us to believe we're small and powerless, so they can maintain their control over us? We're led to believe that we're victims of circumstance, that we're simply subject to fate. But what if this was a lie designed to keep us from stepping into our true potential? But by even asking these questions and considering this new reality, you are already taking a step toward reclaiming your power. Sharing this knowledge and applying it to your own life is an act of rebellion against that system, against those powers that would seek to keep you in a state of ignorance. In the next section, we're going to dig into the historical roots of this suppression and reveal how it continues to manifest in our world today. And more importantly, I will show you exactly what to do to begin reclaiming your power and taking control of your own frequency. So let's delve deeper into this idea that reality is fundamentally vibrational and how this has been uncovered by modern science. Quantum physics, in its exploration of the very small, has revealed some truly mind-bending truths. One of the most significant is the concept of wave-particle duality, which suggests that subatomic particles, like electrons, can behave like both particles and waves. This isn't just some abstract theory. It's been proven through experiments, such as the famous double-slit experiment. This experiment shows us that matter isn't as solid as we perceive it to be, but it behaves like a wave of probability until we observe it, at which point it collapses into a particle. It's as if the very act of observing chooses what reality becomes. Imagine throwing a handful of sand towards a wall with two slits in it, and on the other side, the sand creates a pattern as though it was a wave instead of a solid particle. It defies our common sense understanding of reality, and it points towards the idea that our consciousness has a direct impact on what we experience, suggesting that what we consider as reality is far more fluid and malleable than we've been led to believe. Consider that. What if the very act of observing creates the reality that we experience? This understanding moves us beyond the old Newtonian concept of the universe as a machine to an understanding of reality as something that is dynamic, interconnected, and intimately linked to our consciousness. It suggests that we're not just passive observers, but active participants in the creation of our own reality. If you can accept this, then the idea that we are all creating our reality becomes far more accessible and believable. Building on this, if we are to understand the vibrational nature of reality, we also need to understand the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum encompasses the entire range of frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. This includes everything from the low-frequency radio waves, which are used to transmit information through the air, to the high-frequency gamma rays, which are incredibly powerful and can be harmful to living organisms. Visible light, the light that we see with our eyes, is just a tiny portion of this electromagnetic spectrum, and each color we see has its own unique frequency. Heat is also electromagnetic radiation. Even the warmth you feel from the sun is a form of electromagnetic energy that is vibrating on a specific frequency. Everything, even the chair you are sitting on, the device you're using to watch this video, is emitting or absorbing electromagnetic energy on this spectrum. What appears to be solid, motionless matter is, in fact, an incredibly dense frequency of energy. If the universe is a vast field of vibrating energy, and if God is considered to be this fundamental energy, wouldn't it stand to reason that it would then be the underlying frequency that permeates everything? It's not something outside of the universe, but the very fabric of the universe itself. It's the underlying vibration that manifests in the countless forms that make up our reality. So what if the distinctions we see around us are not separate things, but different expressions of the same underlying force, separated only by their unique frequency? It's the same water, but in the form of steam, liquid, or ice, merely different frequencies of the same thing. Let's deepen this further by exploring the concept of resonance and entrainment. Resonance, in simple terms, is what happens when two objects vibrate at similar frequencies, causing them to begin vibrating together. Think of it like two tuning forks. If you strike one and then hold it near the other, the second tuning fork will start to vibrate as well. This happens because the vibrations of one tuning fork are transferring their energy to the other, creating a sympathetic vibration. This is resonance. Now, entrainment occurs when a stronger vibration influences a weaker one, causing the weaker vibration to synchronize with the stronger one. Imagine a group of people clapping out of sync. If one person starts to clap in a strong, steady rhythm, the others will gradually begin to match their clap to that stronger, more consistent rhythm. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your intentions all create a frequency, a personal vibrational signature that acts like a tuning fork. If you are vibrating at a frequency of anger, you will tend to resonate with situations that generate more anger, and this is the same for joy, love, or abundance. If that frequency matches your intentions, you will attract that into your reality. You become the tuning fork for your own life, and you choose the frequency that you will create. Your emotions and feelings are not just random reactions to the world. They are powerful vibrational forces that are actively shaping your experience. This means that our conscious intention acts as a kind of tuning mechanism, allowing us to consciously interact with the fundamental frequency that underpins reality. And this leads us to another mind-bending aspect of quantum physics: the observer effect. As we previously touched upon, the double-slit experiment illustrates this, as it demonstrates how the act of observation changes the behavior of particles. It shows that our consciousness is not a passive observer of a pre-existing reality, but an active participant in its creation. The delayed choice experiment takes this even further. It shows that the choices we make in the present can appear to influence events that happened in the past. It's as if time itself is not as linear as we imagine. It's a further indication that the universe is far more interconnected than we once believed, and that the observer plays a critical role in shaping reality. Now consider if God is this universal frequency, and our consciousness is the mechanism through which this frequency is perceived and shaped. Then we are no longer separate from the divine, we are an expression of it. It's your consciousness that interacts with and shapes the God frequency. If that seems like a revolutionary idea, it's because it is. Quantum physics is showing us that our consciousness is not a passive observer, but an active force in the creation of reality, that we are intimately interwoven into the fabric of creation itself. And this is where we begin to see the bridge between the realms of the scientific and the spiritual, where science is starting to confirm the ancient wisdom of the ages. But if this is the case, then why has this knowledge not been available to us? Why has it been seemingly hidden and distorted? This brings us to the uncomfortable truth about the historical suppression of this fundamental wisdom. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances of knowledge being deliberately hidden or destroyed, often by those in positions of power and control. One of the most well-known examples is the burning of the Library of Alexandria, one of the most significant centers of knowledge in the ancient world. The destruction of this library resulted in the loss of countless ancient texts that contained scientific, philosophical, and spiritual knowledge. And perhaps, if those texts contain the same concepts that we are talking about here today, the loss of this information set humanity back centuries. But why would such a thing happen? What could be the motivation behind such destruction? The answer is simple: control. If people had access to the true nature of reality and understood their own creative power, they would be harder to control. Those in power prefer to keep people in a state of ignorance and therefore more easily controlled, and this pattern of knowledge suppression has continued throughout history in various forms. Think of the persecution of mystics and scientists who dared to challenge the status quo. They were often ridiculed, ostracized, or even killed for sharing their knowledge. And what if this knowledge was exactly what we are exploring here, the very nature of reality and the power of the human mind? Those with power understood the threat that this knowledge posed to their control, so they actively worked to suppress it. They feared that if people understood their own innate power, the power of their own minds, they would no longer need the controlling structures that were designed to keep them subservient. And this brings us to the distortions within religious doctrines. Many religions teach that God is a being outside of yourself, a stern judge that demands your obedience, and that you need to go through external channels to connect with it. This is in stark contrast to the idea of an inner divinity, which many original teachings actually suggested, and that perhaps these doctrines were deliberately altered to promote a sense of separation from the divine and the need for external authority. What if, originally, the teachings were intended to point inwards, to the divine that already resides within you? Look at the concept of heaven and hell. Many religions describe these as places outside of our current experience. But what if these are actually different frequencies? What if, by raising your personal frequency, you create your own version of heaven here and now? And conversely, by allowing yourself to be consumed by fear and negativity, you create your own version of hell in this same reality. These distortions are designed to keep you dependent on external authorities, instead of empowering you to explore your own inner truth and connect with the divine source that is within you. What if, instead of seeking salvation outside of yourself, you begin to see your own inner divinity? This changes the game completely. It moves you from a state of dependency to one of empowerment, from passivity to creativity, from victim to co-creator. And this leads to the most important tool for keeping the masses in check: fear. Fear, as we've already explored, is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies. When people are kept in a state of fear, they are much easier to control. Fear creates a sense of powerlessness. It shuts down critical thinking and makes people more susceptible to manipulation. And this is why those in power so often use fear to keep people in check. Governments use fear to control the population. Media uses fear to capture our attention. And religions use fear of hell and damnation to keep people following their doctrines. Fear creates a system of control that makes people depend on external authorities instead of their own inner wisdom and truth. This is why it's so critical to understand the power of your emotions, because fear is the very thing that keeps you locked within the system of control, making you easier to influence and less aware of your true power. If you are in a state of fear, you will struggle to connect with your higher self, with your inner divine frequency, because the frequency of fear is actively working against you. When you are in fear, you are cut off from the infinite abundance of the universe and will find yourself in the grip of lack or limitation. So what if by releasing that fear, you are also releasing the chains that bind you to that system of control? You begin to see, then, that your personal frequency has an impact that is much deeper than just your personal experience, but the entire system that we exist in. And this brings us to the manipulation that continues to this very day. Consider the news. You're constantly bombarded with negative information, stories of conflict, chaos, and disaster. And these kinds of stories create an atmosphere of fear and anxiety, keeping people in a state of high alert and distracting them from their own inner power and potential. It keeps people feeling as if the world is a dangerous and chaotic place, and that they are therefore dependent on the external systems that are designed to control them. This pattern can be seen in the education system, that for the most part is still designed to create compliant workers rather than critical thinkers and empowered individuals. You are taught to memorize and obey rather than explore your own creative capacities. Consider the way that the media subtly promotes messages that keep you feeling small, powerless, and insignificant. And this all goes back to the idea that if you knew your true power, you would no longer be controllable, so the system is designed to prevent you from ever realizing your full potential. But the fact that you are watching this video, that you are exploring these concepts, is evidence that you are already beginning to awaken. You are already beginning to see the cracks in the system and recognize that you are more than what they would have you believe. So then, how do we start to break free from this cycle of control and reclaim our power? This brings us to the core of this message, to start actively shifting your frequency and taking control of your life. The path to liberation begins with the understanding that shifting your personal frequency is the pathway to accessing the God frequency. It's about taking responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, and your intentions. It's about becoming aware of your inner vibrational signature and then consciously choosing the frequency that you want to embody. This is done through a variety of techniques, such as meditation, which allows you to quiet your mind and connect with your inner self, your own unique connection to the divine frequency. Breathwork, another powerful tool, helps you to regulate your emotions and raise your energetic state through focused breathing techniques, moving you from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system states. Visualize yourself in your desired reality, feel the emotions associated with it, embody it, and then watch as your external world begins to reflect your inner state. These are not just abstract concepts. These are practical tools for actively shaping your reality, for aligning yourself with the fundamental frequency of the universe, for becoming, as I've mentioned already, an active co-creator of your life. It's like tuning a radio. By focusing on more positive thoughts, emotions, and intentions, you can tune into the God frequency and begin experiencing that frequency in your life, actively and consciously, and with each moment you are choosing which reality you will experience. And by making that a conscious choice, you actively begin to shape your life. And so, what is the purpose of this conscious choice? It is your intention. Intention acts as a focusing mechanism, directing the guard frequency toward your desired outcomes. It's like having a map that guides the flow of energy in your life. Setting clear intentions tells the universe exactly what you want to experience, and it's essential that those intentions come from a place of love, gratitude, and a desire to align with the highest good of all. This isn't about getting what you want at the expense of others, but about co-creating a reality that benefits everyone, that is based on harmony and balance. But the intention on its own is not enough. It must be coupled with a vibrational frequency that aligns with that intention. This is why the state that you are in when you create your intentions is also important. If you set intentions from a place of fear, doubt, or lack, you will be creating from a low frequency, and those intentions will likely manifest in a way that reflects that low vibration. But if, however, you set your intentions from a place of love, gratitude, and abundance, then you will be vibrating at a much higher frequency, and your intentions will be coupled with that high-frequency energy, and what will come into your life will be a reflection of that frequency. By consciously setting your intentions from a place of love, and coupled with a high vibrational frequency, you are directing the guard frequency to manifest your highest potential. You are becoming the alchemist of your own reality. And this brings us to the transformative power of emotional alchemy. Your emotions are powerful vibrational forces that can either raise or lower your frequency, and if you are unaware of them, they can dictate the course of your life. Understanding and regulating your emotions is the most important aspect of mastering your personal frequency, and this begins with self-awareness. When you become aware of the emotions that are governing your life, you can begin to see how they are shaping your experiences. When you focus on positive emotions, like joy, love, gratitude, or compassion, you're raising your vibration, and you're opening yourself up to more positive experiences. When you focus on negative emotions, like fear, anger, resentment, or jealousy, you're lowering your vibration, which will attract more negative experiences. It's that simple, and it's that powerful. And so, the key here is to begin to consciously choose your emotional state and begin to move towards positive emotions. Practicing gratitude, forgiveness, and love are all incredibly powerful methods of shifting your emotional state. But it's also important to understand that negative emotions can also be a powerful source of change if you are conscious of them. If you allow them to be, they will show you where your blockages are and where you can start directing your power of intention. It is essential to understand that emotional regulation is absolutely key to taking control of your own personal frequency and to become more aware of the feelings that you are allowing to take hold of your life. And finally, it all comes back to conscious creation, the understanding that by aligning your personal frequency with positive intentions and emotions, you become an active co-creator of your reality. You are no longer a passive observer. You are an artist, painting the canvas of your own life with each thought, feeling, and intention, and this is a direct pathway to accessing the God frequency. This isn't a passive process. It requires active participation, a constant refinement of your inner world, your own internal tuning fork. Each moment is an opportunity to choose a higher frequency, to make a conscious choice. And by doing this, you are embodying the very essence of creation itself. You are not separate from the divine. You are the divine, experiencing itself through your unique perspective. And it's essential to understand that with this power comes great responsibility. You have the power to create your own reality, and it's important to use that power wisely, to align it with the highest good of all, to create a world based on love, compassion, and abundance, not just for yourself, but for everyone. The God frequency is not some distant concept. It's the very fabric of your being, the very power that animates your existence, and that is a truth that has been suppressed. But now, in this very moment, you are beginning to awaken to this truth, and that is the start of something truly transformative for your life and for the world around you. In the next section, we'll explore even more practical techniques and practices that will allow you to consciously create the life of your dreams and embody this frequency more powerfully. So let's bring all of this together and make it perfectly clear. What we've explored throughout this journey is that God is not an external being that exists outside of the universe, but rather the fundamental, all-pervading frequency that is the very fabric of reality itself. This isn't just some abstract concept, but a real, tangible force that science has begun to uncover through the exploration of quantum physics, where we've seen that the universe is fundamentally vibrational, from the smallest subatomic particles all the way to the largest cosmic structures. And this mirrors the wisdom of ancient spiritual traditions that describe a universal energy field, referred to as prana, chi, or the divine life force, that permeates all existence. This frequency is not just some passive background energy. It's the very source of all that exists. It is the energy that connects everything, and it's the same energy that gives rise to the diversity of form and experience that makes up our reality. All distinctions and differences are simply variations in this fundamental frequency, and it is all ultimately connected by this very same vibrational field. It's the underlying hum of creation, the symphony of existence, and you, as a conscious being, are both an instrument in this symphony and the conductor of your own life experience. And as we've discovered, the concept of frequency has been the unifying thread that runs throughout everything we've explored together. From the vibrations of light and sound to the energetic signatures of our thoughts and emotions, everything we experience is a manifestation of this underlying universal frequency. Our personal vibrational states act as tuning forks, resonating with similar frequencies and actively shaping our reality through the power of intention and emotion. Every moment, every thought, every feeling is contributing to our personal frequency, and it's this frequency that attracts experiences into our lives. When you begin to see it this way, you can clearly understand that what you focus on and the energy that you emanate are not just your personal experience, they are the very mechanisms that create your reality. And the key to understanding all of this is understanding that there is no separation, that the universe is a single, interconnected field of energy, where every part is related to the whole, and what you experience as yourself is just one small expression of this universal field. And this understanding that God is frequency allows us to move away from the idea that we are simply passive observers in a universe beyond our control and step into our true role as active co-creators of our lives. This is not something that is given to you, but rather a capacity that you have always possessed. Your intentions act as a precise tuning mechanism, directing this fundamental energy towards your desired experiences. Your emotions become the vibrational force that gives your intentions power, and your conscious awareness becomes the instrument with which you orchestrate the symphony of your existence. So, when you change your frequency, you change your experience of the world. By consciously choosing your thoughts, feelings, and intentions, you are consciously interacting with the fundamental frequency that underpins reality, and you begin to shape your life with intention rather than by accident. What we are talking about is not just some theoretical or philosophical idea. It is a practical pathway to taking control of your life, shifting your reality, and stepping into your full potential. And so, when you begin to see this, you start to realize that your personal journey is not a quest to find God, but a process of remembering the divine frequency that is already an intrinsic part of who you are, that you are not separate from it, you never were. The idea of seeking God becomes an inward journey of aligning yourself with this divine source, of resonating with the highest potential within you. This isn't about striving to become something that you are not, but about fully embodying what you already are, a conscious and creative expression of this universal energy, a unique manifestation of the divine. It's about shifting your perspective from one of separation to one of unity, and recognizing the infinite potential that resides within your heart, a potential that is not just yours, but is a natural extension of the very nature of the universe itself. And this understanding of God as a frequency doesn't just change your personal journey, it also shifts how you understand the world around you. The universe is not separate from you. It is an extension of you. It is a reflection of your own internal state. And when you see the world this way, you understand that what you create in your inner world is also what manifests in your outer world. This is not just an intellectual idea that you can contemplate, but it is an experiential reality that you can live every single day. It is an invitation to see your life, your challenges, your triumphs, and all of your experiences as an opportunity to express this frequency consciously and with ever-increasing intention, aligning with the deepest potential of your being. And what of the suppression that we have talked about? The fact that they hid this truth. This isn't about dwelling on a conspiracy, but a powerful opportunity to reclaim the wisdom that was intentionally kept from us. The act of suppression doesn't diminish the validity of these truths. In fact, it only amplifies their power and shows that they understood the potential that is contained within these ideas. And so, the deliberate hiding of this knowledge is now an invitation to awaken, to challenge the status quo, and to reclaim your inherent authority. This is the turning point, where you transform the perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment, moving forward with the understanding that you are not powerless in a world of control, but a conscious co-creator of your own experience. And this leads us to a crucial understanding. The external world is not some separate entity, but a perfect reflection of your inner world. This realization places the responsibility for your experience of reality squarely on your own shoulders. It means that you are not at the mercy of external forces, but the active architect of your own life, empowered with the capacity to shape your own journey. And this understanding can be used to break free from the limitations that have been imposed on you by these external forces. It allows you to move past the blame and to understand that you are not the effect of your circumstances, but the conscious creator of them, making each moment an opportunity to reshape your reality from a place of intention. And by embracing this power, you shift your perspective from one of limitation to one of unlimited potential, where your reality is shaped by the frequency that you are choosing to embody. You begin to understand that your life is not a fixed path, but a fluid and dynamic expression of the frequencies you choose to tune into. So, by consciously choosing to raise your personal vibration, and by aligning yourself with the positive frequencies of love, gratitude, and joy, you become a powerful co-creator, not just for your own reality, but for the entire collective reality that we all share, creating peace, abundance, and joy, not just for yourself, but for all beings. And so, let's now look at how the idea of control has shifted through this journey. We've seen that real power isn't about controlling the external world, but about mastering yourself and understanding your own inner frequencies. It's about recognizing that true freedom lies in the understanding of how to consciously shift your own personal state of being, and thus, your experience of life. What we see then is that the desire to control is actually the desire to feel safe. And by mastering yourself and the power of your own mind, the need to control the outside world starts to diminish as you become more at peace with yourself. The true meaning of control is then transformed to not be about external forces, but internal ones. And so the desire for control becomes a desire for self-mastery that puts the power back into your own hands. And finally, let's solidify the action that must be taken. This is not just some intellectual theory that you can contemplate. This is practical wisdom that you can begin to apply to your daily life. Remember the techniques that we've explored. Meditation, for quieting your mind and connecting with your inner frequency. Breathwork for regulating your emotions, and intention setting for directing the flow of energy. And gratitude for opening your heart and attuning yourself to the frequency of abundance. These are the practical, repeatable steps that allow you to step into the experience of the divine frequency. And by incorporating them into your daily life, you begin to actively participate in the creation of your own reality. allowing you to step out of the old ways of thinking and into a new way of experiencing. These tools allow you to be the conscious artist of your own life and to begin painting a picture of the world that reflects your highest potential. And so, let's directly answer the questions that were posed at the beginning of this video. What is God? We've discovered that God is not an external being, but an all-encompassing frequency, the very fabric of reality itself. And how can we interact with this God? We've seen that you interact with this frequency by consciously choosing the thoughts, feelings, and intentions that you embody, and that by consciously raising your personal frequency, you can begin to experience a deep, meaningful, and tangible connection to the divine source of creation, a direct link to the infinite potential within you, where the divine becomes an active participant in your experience of life, and you become an active participant in the expression of the divine. And this is how we can finally release the tension of us versus them. The true power was never outside of you and never has been. The power lies within your heart and within your mind, and you have always possessed the potential to take charge of your life and the world around you. The key to creating a better world isn't to fight against external forces, but to take responsibility for your own internal landscape and shift your perspective from a place of powerlessness to one of true, undeniable empowerment. And this is the understanding that creates the pathway to ultimate freedom, one where the limitations of the old world start to fade away, and you step into the full potential that is waiting to be expressed by you, the infinite potential of your being. But the exploration doesn't end here. This is just the beginning of the journey. There is still so much more to discover about how collective consciousness interacts with this universal frequency, and what potential lies within the understanding of conscious co-creation, not just on an individual level, but also on a global one. What would it be like if everyone became aware of their own creative power and used it to manifest the highest potential of humanity? What kind of world will we create? These are questions worth exploring. This video is not designed to be the end of the journey, but a starting point, an invitation to experiment with these ideas, to share your experiences, and to ask further questions to contribute to a greater conversation of exploration. And I invite you to see these ideas not as the final truth, but as a lens through which you can begin to explore your own experience of reality. And as you experiment with these concepts, I invite you to share your experiences, leave comments, and ask further questions so that we can create a community of exploration and discovery together. And always remember that personal transformation is an ongoing journey, and this video is just one step along that path. There are more resources for you to explore on this channel and on the internet in general, and so I invite you to continue to stay open to new perspectives and to always question the nature of reality, to explore the full potential of your being, and to begin creating the life of your dreams with an ever-increasing sense of purpose and intention.